And so we created the Gary Vee Content Model 2.0 to teach small teams and solo entrepreneurs how to scale their content in the same style. And again, we proved it that you could do it with 2 people. And so we released that for the team for them to use too.
The question is, if you worked with Noah Kagan directly, you actually have had a more awesome time with him with a bike ride. I remember when he published about that bike ride. He's like a swell guy, right?
Oh yeah, he's chill. That's what, like, I'll tell you one thing. Noah and Gary are really chill dudes, really cool. And Noah was like, listen, Noah's busy, all this stuff, but he took the time. We talked. We actually texted last week because he was on my stream
Really?
for my show. Yeah, that was
Wow.
hilarious. And so I was like, dude, thanks for jumping on, all this stuff. And so it's been really great. And his whole team, I mean, again, I work with them every week, and it's just been awesome. And they're like, you've been with us for years. What do you see, like, what we can do? So I became a consultant for AppSumo, built some things, built a lot of content. We have a new project coming out in the next couple of months. So I'm really super proud of that. And it just Noah's like, listen, what's pretty interesting is, like, and this is, I really like tip my hat to Noah. Noah like tries to surround himself with really smart people. And like, that's why Noah's like, listen, I'm getting Eamon. He'll be the CEO. Eamon doesn't talk much. Like he doesn't do a lot of interviews. Try to get him on my show. Eamon's the man. Eamon's crazy good. He transformed my business. So I went with him, and in 40 minutes, he restructured my business. And that was the year I made 6 figures the first year off of a 40-minute conversation. Killer. He's a killer.
Wow.
So it was just awesome.
Was
just
it
been
in
awesome.
the bar? Was it in the bar where he was?
You know what? Not at that time, but it could have been. It was too loud in that bar. There was no way. It was. I lost my voice. I was yelling. So anyway, it was this nightclub. It was a speakeasy, and oh my god! First of all, I just had to tell this story. I'm sorry. So I didn't. Listen, I will do anything to get a client. So to tell you the truth, okay, so it sounds like I'm going to be like 90 years old when I tell this story. But so Noah had this bike ride, right? So, it's like this 5K bike ride.
Yeah.
I haven't ridden a bike since I was like 14. Like, I haven't ridden a bike in years. And I was like, I need to go here and I need to do this bike ride. 2 weeks before, like an old man, I fell down the steps and like just got so hurt. I was walking with a cane before I did the event.
Really?
And I forced myself to do that bike ride because I was like, I know if I do this, I'm going to be able to work with him. So did the bike ride. I came in last. I hobbled away, barely made it there, made it. They served me tacos as always because I have sumo. And so after we were at the house, told me to go to Eamon's place at this nightclub. And I hobbled all the way downtown to Austin to find Eamon. And then from there, they're like, dude, like, we like what you're doing. You have to come back. And they flew me back to AppSumo 2 months later. And then we've been working with each other ever since.
That's awesome. That's great right there. Going through the lengths and heights and that bike ride on a cane. That's just amazing. So what do you do exactly for AppSumo? Can you let us know?
Yeah. So basically, so a couple of different things. So number one, I get paid as a consultant, so I'm not on payroll, but that also gives me the flexibility that I can give my true opinion on any product. So I have no skin in the game, and I don't profit if I say this product is good and it's not, right? So I create a series called Dive In with Doc, and it's showing you how to actually use the product and all of those things. Also, if you see different things on the site, I've made different improvements of user experience, different insights of what people are looking for. If you look at certain tabs where things are, I
Mhm.
talk about that a lot because listen, there's a lot of tools on there than maybe 4 years ago, right? Because now
Yeah.
in the store, there's sometimes 60 tools in the store at a time.
Mhm.
So we were talking about, putting different categories, things like that. There's going to be a new what I'll tell you, there's a new project coming out. So this has been a really huge one. I'm
Mm.
very excited about it. It's been something, yeah. So there's
Yeah.
there's a new thing coming out. And then basically user experience, like sometimes like let's not pretend the elephant in the room. Like sometimes there's overlay of different products. And
Mhm.
because AppSumo, it makes sense, right? You don't want to show favoritism over one product or over the other because it's a
Yeah.
marketplace.
Yeah.
But if I do reviews, I can do versus reviews, and I have an agency, so I can tell you case studies of how I'm using it for clients, and
Yep.
then the audience gets to decide what they're going to use, and it's not AppSumo showing
Yeah.
favoritism to one of
Yeah.
their partners.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, with that, my next question would be, are you getting all the apps for free?
That's so interesting. I will say a lot of them, but you know what? I buy a lot. I'll
You
say
still
this.
buy?
Oh yeah, listen, I buy them because listen, I'm not gonna be like, hey, let me get like 5 of those codes real quick. Let me
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say like, hey, okay, I'll test it, whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I have so many clients that I still use AppSumo deals.
Yeah.
I guarantee. Like, I'll put it this way, like, so some people are like, so how did you buy that many deals? I became an affiliate of ConvertKit so I
Uh-huh.
could spend all of my affiliate money on AppSumo deals.
Right. Right. Right.
so
Got
like
it.
I buy like so it's like, yeah, I get them for free, but I'm like, I'm stacking sometimes 5 codes. I don't
Yeah.
think AppSumo would let me do
Yeah.
that.
Oh my gosh. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
integrity right there, right? Because if you bought the codes and you do the review, that's more trust points for you. Now,
yeah, yeah.
you mentioned VaynerMedia. Let's talk about VaynerMedia. What work do you do for VaynerMedia?
Yeah, yeah. So again, it kind of started on the fitness side. So this was about 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So 2017 Vayner Sports came out, and this is with Gary's younger brother. So okay, so you gotta understand, I'm not. I've always throughout my entire life, I've never been chosen first. I've never been the smartest. I've never done anything, honestly.
Likewise.
So when you know how I'm feeling, right? So
Mm.
when I do things, it's very much like counter or a roundabout because I've never been in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
In that I could work with this huge star right off the bat. So I'll give you an example. So how we get to Vayner. ESPN, which is a pretty big sports network, especially in the States, but it's pretty global, right?
Mm-hmm.
So ESPN, everyone wants to work there. I
Mm-hmm.
knew everyone wanted to work there. No one pitches ESPNW, which is the women's side of ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I started working for ESPN because I went for ESPNW.
Mm-hmm.
So when I knew I wanted to work with Gary, I knew so many people try to hit him up and try to become his intern and, team Gary V.
Yeah.
But I knew tons of people, no one ever hits up AJ, his younger brother, who's the co-founder.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that AJ had left Vayner and he was starting something else, and it was Vayner Sports. I was working for ESPN in another sports magazine at the time. I was like, listen, Vayner Sports is just coming out. I want to
Mm-hmm.
interview them. Let me just
Mm-hmm.
go to Vayner.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we don't know who Gary V is, but if you pay your way, whatever. So one time, Gary put out a phone number on a YouTube video of the office number. Got the office number in the email. This is a big mistake. Don't let anyone let me get their email or their phone number. I called them every single day for almost a year until they granted me
Wow.
the interview. And then we went there. I went with the same guy that did my commercial, Jay, who we still work together. He shot a documentary while I interviewed AJ. We did a whole documentary of the tour. And then I was like, listen, if you ever need anything, let me know. Other people saw what we were doing. Other guests that were on Gary V's show wanted to do podcasts, and they saw our work. We got in there again. And
Mm-hmm.
then Sasha Group, which is their boutique agency under VaynerX, one of the guys, actually, I didn't know this at the time. He lived about 40 minutes away from where my office is, but he lives in New York now.
Mhm.
And they saw that we could do podcasts, and he didn't know how to do podcasting. So when he was on break, I was like, listen, bro, I'll teach you how to do podcasting. They need to learn how to do that for their agency in teaching other athletes, because he works for Vayner Sports and Sasha Group, all under
Mhm.
VaynerX. Built out his podcast workflow, built out all the things that he needed for podcasting, taught him how to do the workflow, so then he could teach everyone at Sasha and Vayner Sports. So we got to work with him on that. And then you probably already know how much Gary Vee puts out content, right? Puts out
Mhm.
content, all of this
Yeah.
thing. Well, the whole thing was, one of the guys that worked there, and Gary was on the board of their company, was like, listen, no one's ever shown that they could put out as much content as Gary on a smaller scale, or, with a small team. Because Gary, I'm not sure if you know this, but Gary has 30 people on Team Gary Vee.
Wow,
So
that's a
if
lot.
you look, it's a lot. So like, say for instance, if you're in a room with Gary, there'll be one videographer throughout the day. They'll rotate because they're on all the time. Then you've got the videographers, you've got the editors, then you've got, I mean, if you look in the back of the office, there are 2 rows of everyone just working on Gary's content around the clock, around the clock.
Wow.
Yep. So with me and my friend, with
Crazy.
Jay, who's my videographer, and he has his own business, but we work well together. And I was like, we can put out 30 pieces of content under a turnaround of 48 hours. We can do it with 2 people, and it doesn't take 30 people. So we worked with the 4Ds alumni for Gary's. Yeah. So 4Ds is where you do an intensive day with Gary for one
Uh-huh.
day with the team. And so we created the Gary Vee Content Model 2.0 to teach small teams and solo entrepreneurs how to scale their content in the same style. And again, we proved it that you could do it with 2 people. And so we released that for the team for them to use too.
Wow. 2 people all the way from 30 people. That must have
Yep.
been huge in their payroll.
Yeah. I mean, so, that was the whole thing, because think about it. You know how many people watch Gary and they're like, man, I wish I could do what you do. I don't have money for 30 people.
Right.
And it's like, makes sense. I don't have money for 30 people, but if you understand the type of content you need to put out, and you understand the purpose of why you're putting out content,
Yeah.
you can do it. And so many people emulate Gary, but they don't think about purpose and the type of content that he produces. And that's why he's successful. And if you use those concepts, you can win. And so that's what we showed. We did it in real time. And again, we went there again. We showed how to do it. We did it with the team. And then we released the blueprint for everyone to use.